Speaking of devoted, our next speaker, my first bit of paid journalism just over 20 years ago I submitted to this man as part of the founding team of Pocket Gamer and got some really helpful feedback. He knew his stuff then, so 20 years on, hopefully he's learnt even more. Let's give a really warm welcome to, hopefully you've already heard of this chap, Jon Jordan, who is Jon Jordan from Soccerverse. Real players, real value, building Onchain football management game, Soccerverse. So yeah, we'll give you guys a chance to get your seats, but a warm welcome to Jon.
See how much I've forgotten. I've forgotten that, Will. So, right. J2ME, well, who remembers J2ME? Hands up. Gracious. With dinosaurs. Okay, hello everyone, I'm Jon. And I think there's one other blockchain game talk in the conference today, so thanks for coming along. Now, okay, so what I'm going to be talking about is Soccerverse. So Soccerverse is a fully on-chain football management game. It's also a fully on-chain football management economy. So those two things we'll explain. And sort of the headline for this and the sort of the thread I'm trying to sort of bring out in this talk is real players and real value. So in blockchain, obviously, we've had a lot of not real players and a lot of sort of volatile value. But with a game like Soccerverse, we really feel like we're building something here that's a bit different to a lot of the other blockchain games out there. Okay, so some stuff to run through, quite a lot. Why Soccerverse? Why are we making it? What it in fact is Soccerverse? What is this economy that I'm highlighting? Why are we using blockchain? If we're using blockchain, is Soccerverse play to earn? That terrible description. And if we're not play to earn, we must be pay to win. Surely one of those two things, you would think. It's on, yeah. Soccerverse is a 100% community. We'll discuss that, and then at the end, if we've got time, talk a little bit about bots and AI agents. Okay, so why was Soccerverse made? Well, at a very sort of high sort of philosophical level. Football management games are fun. People play football management games, generally sort of single-player games. Everyone loves sort of the thrill of taking a team up the divisions. We can add some more sort of features onto this and make it more fun, I think. So persistent football management games, that's an extra sort of thing. So you're not just sort of running a sort of a seasonal thing. This thing's going to last forever. That's cool. And then particularly if we add multiplayer, if we add like a social aspect in there, then we're really getting sort of fun. Also really getting competitive. So when we have a persistent multiplayer football management game based in one world, that's really, really competitive, and competitive is obviously fun as well. So, so that's what we're sort of the high level looking to do. There is actually sort of a genesis of the project as well. So there's a game still actually going called Soccer Manager Worlds. That's just a sort of standard browser-based football management game, very popular in sort of Facebook, and in that, groups of people come together and they make a league and they choose which teams they're going to manage and they play amongst themselves. So that's really good. That works. People are still playing that game. But you can make as many leagues as you want. So you can have there's thousands of these worlds. So really, Soccerverse is the sort of the concept of if we take this game, Soccer Manager World, and make Soccer Manager World, just get rid of the S. So everyone is playing in one big sort of world. And what interesting things are going to happen when they're doing that, and also we're doing that on the blockchain, so even more interesting things are going to be happening. Okay, so some brief sort of numbers. So massively multiplayer football game. There are, so we sort of map the real world. So there are 5,350 clubs in the game. Those are mapping real world sort of locations, clubs. We have 171,386 players, so those are football players. We have a FIFA Pro license, which is the players' union, so that sort of covers us on the player likenesses, that sort of stuff. There's about 300 leagues, and I say that's one whole universe, and that's running on the Polygon blockchain. I'm not really going to talk about blockchain stuff today, but if you're interested, it is running on Polygon. So that's sort of what we got. We could have a few more clubs, we could add a few more players, but you start having problems with data. It's big enough at the moment. Okay, so when you log into the game, which I'm sure you will be doing, if not now, later, this is our game world. So as you can see, there are a few sort of white dots, so Greenland, no football teams there, and Pakistan and Afghanistan, I think there. So there's some places where we don't have data, but most of the world is pretty well covered. And if you want to start playing the game and you want to be a manager, you basically choose a country, find a league, find a club, and if it's not managed, you take it over and then you start managing the club. That's what football management games are all about. Looks a bit like this on the UI. So again, sort of fairly standard. You have a club. It has a certain number of players. You pick your players. You have your substitutes down the side here. You have team instructions and formations and things like tempo and situations. So that's when you can put your substitutes on, or you can choose what's going to happen in the 32nd minute if you're 1-0 up or something. You can change these things and bring on substitutes. So you do that, typical stuff we expect to do in a football management game. And then Soccerverse has seasons. So the seasons run for 6 months. And you normally play twice a week. So we started our season 3 on Saturday. We got our next game on Wednesday. And so basically everyone's doing these tactics, and then we're a fully on-chain game, so they're submitting them. So up there, submit your team sheet, and that's the transaction on the Polygon blockchain. So everyone's doing their tactics, and the game engine is dealing with that and giving us the results at the end. So that's fairly straightforward on the game side. On the player side, again, sort of fairly standard here. So we've got Chris Wood, so we'll be looking at Chris Wood a bit later on as well. So his main thing here is his rating. So he's rated 90. And at the end of every season, the players' ratings change. So we're not a fantasy game, but we sort of map the real world to some degree. So we can see here, Chris Wood actually went up 4 between seasons. So we're actually taking real world data there and seeing how people are playing in the real world, if they're getting transferred to clubs and that sort of stuff. But we're not a fantasy game, we're not a real world game. We are our own sort of Soccerverse. So that's Chris Wood. And in the real world, he is injured, and when he's not injured, he's playing for Nottingham Forest. In our world, he's not injured, and he's playing for Bruges. So obviously, we started off with all the players in the right clubs a year ago, and now they've all been sort of shuffled around as people have transferred them around. So we have this sort of real world and not real world sort of stuff going on. Okay, so what's the economy? If that's the game, what's the economy? So again, very straightforward. Each club in the game is what I'm calling a financial entity, and each player is a financial entity. And then clubs and players can be owned by users. I'm using the term users because if I say players, it gets complicated. So I use players for the footballers and users for the people playing the game. So you don't have to own clubs or players. That's a sort of a trading aspect of the game. You could just manage. You could not manage a team at all and just sort of trade own these players and clubs. So every club and every player is split into 1 million pieces, effectively. We call them influence. And users can buy those. And if you own, say, 10% of Chris Wood, you get 10% of Chris Wood's flows, of his wages, in fact. So that's sort of the trading side of the game. And that's the economy that underpins everything else that's going on. So this is what it would look like for a club. Again, this is actually my club, Bolton. So this is just at the start of actually last season. So the overall balance was 14 million. We have a token called SVC. That's the sort of crypto token. And a whole bunch of stuff going on here. So gate receipts, TV revenue, and obviously that's coming in. And then players' wages and stuff like that are going out. So in this case, the team started off with 14 million SVC. I actually injected 9 million myself into the club so I could do better transfers. I spent 14 million SVC getting better transfers, and I still got relegated. So work to be done there, but that's how all the clubs work as entities. Similar thing for players. So here we have Chris Wood, and he has wages. So for every game, he sort of gets 709 SVC. If he's starting the game, he gets another 886 SVC, and if he scores a goal, he gets 10,600. So if you owned all of Chris Wood, that's what you would get. If you own 10% of Chris Wood, that's what you get, 10%. And this is all in the in-game token SVC. So we're starting to get an idea of sort of how the economy works and obviously how the football management stuff works. Why are we using a blockchain? Technically, you probably could do this without a blockchain. Probably, Andy? I don't know. Yeah, you could. But there are some things that it's just you get sort of for free using blockchain, and particularly around sort of the philosophy of the game, because you're asking people to sort of buy these assets. So particularly, I would say for sort of these massive multiplayer games, you have issues with scarcity and how many assets are in the game, and is the developer sort of being truthful, or is you're getting hacked or something like that. So scarcity of assets on a blockchain is obviously proven, because you can go to the Block Explorer and prove what's there. And also the ownership is immutable. So all the users in the game, they have their own blockchain wallet, and everything that's owned is owned in their wallet, and the game developer has no access to that. So there's no God mode for the developer. Developers can't make another Chris Wood. They can't make more influencing Chris Wood if they want to. All that stuff is on the blockchain and can be proved to be what it is. So an outcome of that is users can trade these assets between themselves. So the developer doesn't get involved in any of those flows as well. So it's, from that point of view, fully decentralized. Obviously, skill and success in this case are rewarded because you have this sort of value flowing through the game. Obviously, some people like that in a game, some people don't like that in a game. That's a little bit down to sort of personal sort of preference, I think. But it definitely adds something that you can't do if you're not using blockchain. So Soccerverse has always been a blockchain game anyway, so it's not like this is sort of retrospective sort of argument, I suppose. Okay, so when I'm talking about players who are trading amongst themselves, and every club is an entity, we'll look at Bolton again here. So you can see this is my account. I actually own 3.5% of Bolton. One nice thing about that means I can't be sacked unless someone has more than 3.5% of the influence, and then they can vote me out. So that's another sort of part of the game that you can sort of vote managers out and take over clubs if you want to. And here, so basically every entity in the game has this, which is a decentralized exchange, effectively. And again, this is running between players, peer-to-peer. So in this case, so if you want to buy, if you think I'm going to be a good manager, which I'm not, you can buy influence in Bolton, and the price is set for 0.5, and there's 2,000. And here people are, some people want to buy influence in Bolton, and they've set the price they want there. So basically, you have a buy. If you want to buy, you sort of set how much you want, and it takes it if there's something there. And if you want to sell, you do similar. So again, Chris Wood, exactly the same thing. We have a buy and a sell here. At the moment, there's only a sell order, so if you wanted to buy Chris Wood, it's 500 of his influence, and it's 0.7 SVC. But what we can actually start to see here is sort of an economy kicking in. So actually, last year, this account here, long-termish, actually bought 86% of Chris Wood, so that's quite a substantial amount. So that account has then gone on to put smaller amounts of Chris Wood influence on sale at twice and 3 times and basically 4 times what they originally paid. So you see, it's starting to see another sort of economy that's emerging here, with people sort of buying up assets and trying to sort of hope other people are going to sort of want them at a higher price. Okay, so you can see, get an idea of the economy. It's running on a blockchain. Probably you've heard play to earn is really bad, and it is, and most blockchain games suffer from being play to earn. So is Soccerverse play to earn? No, it's not. So for most play to earn games, what's happening is people are coming in, playing the game, earning some sort of token, and they're just basically grinding that earn loop as much as they can. And they're basically extracting all the value from your game, or your token, and selling it. So there's no economy there. They're basically just extracting and selling. So with Soccerverse, you can't really do that because time is not a factor in this game. We play 2 games a week. You can't spend any more time doing your tactics than you do. So really, at that fundamental level, skill is the point here. And also, if you can play the game for free, but if you are playing the game for free, you basically don't earn anything. You might earn like $1 or something a year. So it's a really low level. You can't really extract, and obviously the amount of clubs is also sort of capped as well. So Soccerverse isn't play to earn, and in fact, it's actually sort of the opposite. Particularly if you're playing the trading sort of side of the game, you get involved in that. You need to spend money because you need to buy the influence in order to get the return. So actually, from that point of view, that's part of the game is sort of spend to earn. Talk about the SVC token. So I've mentioned it sort of in passing a little bit, but it's quite important to this game. So it's what we call a pure utility token. So that just means it has, its function is to sort of transfer value around. It has no speculative value at all. So it's not it's not like Bitcoin, which you might buy because the price is going to go up. That's not the point of SVC. And indeed, the price is set by users. It's not set by the developer. The developer hasn't sold any tokens to people. It's not on exchanges. It's literally only available in the game, and the only use it has is for users. And even more important than that is if you want to sell it, you can't immediately sell it. You can set a price for what you want to sell it at, but you only sell the SVC if someone comes in and buys it. So you only sell to other users. There's no speculative aspect there. So as far as you can get it, it is a sort of pure utility token. There's no point holding it and hoping the price will go up. If you do want to buy it, again, similar sort of thing to what we've seen before. This is the sort of decentralized exchange. So if you want to buy, you would set in how much you want to buy, and it would basically take the lowest price of, depending on how much you want to buy. If you want to buy 10,000, it would take 10,000 up there. If you want to sell, again, you set how much you've got, the price, and it just puts it into this sell wall, and it won't get bought until someone comes in and buys it. And we can see here, these are accounts, and they're trading amongst themselves. And the reason you would want to do that is either you want to become, do the trading part of the game, or you want to buy SVC to inject it into your club to do transfers. So this is the price. There is sort of volatility here. So someone came in, obviously bought a whole bunch back in the end of July, but generally the price is sort of steady, going down somewhat. At the end of the season, there's quite a lot of SVC going around because everyone gets sort of rewards at the end of they get promoted. There's no point buying this and holding it in the hope it's going to go up. Okay, so if it's not play to earn, is it pay to win? So this is a bit of a more nuanced question, I would say. So as I said, you can spend nothing and be successful. You can be a manager who just plays the management side of the game and and get promoted and have a good time. So from that point of view, you can win without paying anything. But clearly, something that any blockchain game will have is that there is sort of value in the game. And even for any game, really, to some degree, spending is going to boost your performance. What's quite interesting about Soccerverse, and I think quite unique for a blockchain game, is that while you can buy SVC, say, inject it in your club to do more transfers, you find market equilibrium pretty quickly. There's lots of people who've been playing this game now for over a year, and lots of clubs have been trading players. And even if you come in with a lot of money, you can't buy the best players because the best teams already have them, and they don't want to sell them to you. So there is quite an interesting elastic sort of feature going on here, where there is some play to win in there, but it's not play to win the game. Of course, we do want people to spend money because we want people who want to sell the SVC token to be able to sell it to someone. So there is also, we do want some aspect of play to win, but it's not win as the term play to win is often used. And there is, I think, with these sort of games, what does winning mean in this? There is no win state, really, I don't think, in these very long-term games. But anyway, that's maybe more a matter of opinion. Okay, so I think everyone who is running a game, and certainly everyone in blockchain, always goes on about their community and how important their community is. Soccerverse is no different from that point of view. I think we can sort of double down on it in the sense that our users own everything in the game. So there is, if we didn't have any community playing the game and buying stuff in the game, we wouldn't have a game, wouldn't have any economy. And these users now have sort of real skin in the game. So on that DEX I'm showing you where people can buy and sell SVC, over $100,000 worth of value has been bought, has been bought and sold. So users have come in buying SVC off people who are going to sell it. So that's not an enormous sum of money, really. Often in crypto we like to throw around these millions of dollars and billions and all this sort of stuff. And Soccerverse isn't that game, partly because it has this sort of very discrete buying and selling marketplace that you can only sell if someone's buying. So it doesn't have these large volumes. But this is still, I think, a fairly substantial amount of sort of skin in the game from people who are buying this token purely for it to be used as a sort of functional token in the game, not for speculation at all. And another interesting thing, that as the game has gone on, so we're now, say, into our third season, even though there is money in the game and people do spend money, what becomes interesting, and I guess this is the same for a lot of games, is actually about reputation of users. So because every user has a wallet and their game name is in that wallet, you can start to see, you get their behaviors. Are they a good manager? Are they a good trader? What are they doing in the game? Are they trolling people? There's lots of things you can do around agents and trying to get transfers out and people doing sort of deals and all this sort of stuff. And it does become apparent what the reputation of these players are, and because you have a wallet and you're managing a team in it, you can't just go and get a new account and sort of have access to that stuff anymore. So it is quite interesting how these characters in the game are starting to emerge. Very briefly, I'll talk about bots and agents. So bots have been a massive problem and still are a massive problem in blockchain games. If anything can be extracted, then a bot will come along and basically extract that value. As I say, Soccerverse isn't play to earn, so we don't really have that issue. And in fact, bots could be quite good for this game. This game is sort of allows sort of bots and AI agents, I think. And this is something actually. Yep. I've got a minute left. Have I? What's it says here? Okay. So AI agents. Lots of games I think are worried about AI agents, which I guess are cleverer versions of bots. But I think actually for this sort of game where you could get an AI agent, give it a wallet, give it some money, and get it to go and trade, under 17-year-old people from Nigeria or something, go out with a specific trading pattern. That would be quite good. That would improve liquidity in the game. If you had AI managers, they're going to improve the activity in the game and sort of transfer market and stuff as well. So we've not really done anything about it at the moment. We're thinking about it. I guess lots of games are, but I think for blockchain games, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with AI agents. I'm finished now. So you want to find me, there I am. We have an indie, we're on the indie stand. If you want to play Soccerverse or even try it out, get £10 free in-game tokens there if you come and find us, and there's a QR code at the back. Thank you very much.